MacGraw grills, and I'm in the forest, and just for a change I'm going to have a cup of coffee with some Volvic, some Tapaline in a Volvic bottle, and I'm going to talk about film. And the film I'm going to talk about is my most favourite film in the world that's ever been made, film-wise. It's a film from 1977, and it's a film called Convoy. Convoy. The late Kris Kristofferson's in it. Kris Kristofferson. He was also in Blade. If you've seen Blade, he played Whistler in Blade. He was also in that other film, Payback, with Mel Gibson. I'm in a slightly different place today, trying a slightly different jet boil setup. It's not ideal, and I'm hoping that it doesn't fall off the log, but we shall see. We shall see. It's all trial and error. So anyway, excuse me, Kris Kristofferson plays the rubber duck. Ali MacGraw's in it. She's like the little mate. Ernest Borgnine, he's in it. Franklin Ajayi, Madge Sinclair, Kris Kristofferson, Ali MacGraw, Ernest Borgnine, Franklin Ajayi, Madge Sinclair, and others. And it follows the exploits of a group of runaway truck drivers. Basically, the start of the film, you see the rubber duck encountering Melissa. She eventually goes on to play the little mate in the truck, but not yet. So anyway, it starts off with, so you've got the rubber duck driving his great big Mack truck down the road, and then you've got Ali MacGraw, Melissa, and she comes scudding past, and then she looks up at the duck, and he's driving his truck, and he's looking down, and she's barely dressed because it's the Arizona desert, so she's barely got a stitch on, and he's very enamoured with that. He likes that. Anyway, so they drive along for a while, side by side. She's taking photos. He's giving, oh yeah, look at me, I'm fantastic. And then the police turn up. The police get run off the road because Melissa is on the wrong side of the road. Duck is driving along quite nicely, thank you very much. And surprise, surprise, it's the truck driver that gets stopped and possible fine. So there's that undertone there, that bit of friction, that bit of needle. And so anyway, so the duck gets out of it. He says, look, she's driving along. She ain't got a stitch on. She's barely dressed, nearly naked. And the copper says, hang on a minute, you what? He says, yeah. She's ain't got a stitch on, sort of thing. So the copper lets him off. He says, yeah, go on, I'll let you off with a warning. Be careful. So then the policeman chases after Melissa and propositions her. You don't get to see that. That's all subplot, by the by. So anyway, so the duck carries on up the road, where he eventually encounters Pigpen and Spider Mike. Pigpen's played by Burt Young. Burt Young's in it as well. Paulie from Rocky. So he's in it. And Spider Mike is played by Franklin Ajayi. So they meet up, and then they're all, you know what male egos are like. They all decide they want to have a race. Who's got the fastest truck? So anyway, so they get on with it. They have a race, but waiting around the corner is dirty policeman, Dirty Lyle, dirty cop, Dirty Lyle Wallace from Natosha County, and he doesn't like truck drivers at all, not in the least. So anyway, so they are racing, so they do deserve to be pulled over. They don't deserve to be trapped into it. Encouraged to race by Dirty Lyle on the old CB. So they are racing, but they don't deserve to get. Anyway, so then Dirty Lyle takes bribes off them, threatens to impound the trucks. Of course, they need the trucks so they don't get paid, so they have to pay money to the policeman to make him write off their speeding tickets. Now that's boiling and it hasn't fallen off the log yet, so that's a win. I have been trying to figure out possible solutions for that. Anyway, so they pay the money to Dirty Lyle, and Spider Mike says, well, I'm skint now, so I'm going to have to starve all the way home, aren't I? Which is great. And Dirty Lyle takes note of that. Anyway, so he lets them go. He's taking their money, which is less money they'd have paid if they'd paid the fines. So they've done sort of alright, but not really. It's one of those mixed blessings. Now I've got nowhere to put my coffee. I have to put my coffee on the ground. Hideous. I have to keep an eye on that. Let's stop stove cam from going. Anyway, so they decide they want to go stop at a diner, roadside diner. They're going to eat. But Spider Mike, of course, is skint now, you see. Spider Mike is skint, so he's got to get Pigpen to buy him lunch. Anyway, so that's where Melissa turns up, you see, because her car, the one that she was driving on the wrong side of the road next to the duck. Let me just move this camera ever so slightly round that way, so I can stand ever so slightly this way, and the sun won't be in my face like that. Anyway, so Melissa's got to get to Texas, she's got to get to Dallas, and she ends up, they organise she's going to ride along with the duck for so far, because she sells it, her car breaks down, so she sells it to the man at the diner, and you know, she's got some money now, but she needs to hitch a ride, so she hitches a ride with the duck. Meanwhile, Dirty Lyle is on his way to the diner, and you know, Spider Mike and Pigpen decide they're going to wind him up a bit over the loudspeaker system. He's out in the car park doing his thing, and they're on a loudspeaker giving him heat, you know, winding him up, taking the mick, you know. Anyway, so Dirty Lyle comes in and he decides, now I don't know if you know, Franklin Ajayi is a black fella, right? He's a black fella, and Spider Mike, of course, played by Franklin Ajayi, is a black fella. And because Dirty Lyle is a horrible, ghastly, grotesque individual, he decides he's going to pick on Mike, mainly because he's black and he's a truck driver. That's a bonus. No, I think he picks on him because he's a truck driver, but him being a black man is like a bonus for him. He's like, yeah, that's a twofer. So anyway, so he tries to arrest Mike for vagrancy, because he knows he hasn't got any money, because he's just stolen it from him up the road by entrapping him into speeding. Empty that water out there. And so anyway, so he says, look, you know, I'm going to arrest you for vagrancy. And he says, no, you're not, because I've got to get home. My old woman's having a baby, blah, 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 blah. Fight breaks. Lyle says, oh, does anyone know who the father is? Cheers, mate. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? It's class. So then a big fight breaks out in the diner, and you know, two policemen turn up, and there's a big brawl, which apparently took 11 days to film. You know, so a big brawl breaks out. The three policemen, Lyle gets knocked out early on. He's out of the game. Then the two policemen are brawling with all these truck drivers. You know, 11 days to film one fight sequence. Anyway, so they're having this big fight, and the two policemen eventually they succumb to the numbers, basically. And, you know, they get knocked out, and then they decide that they're going to handcuff the policemen together so they can't escape, they can't run away, and then they're going to get in their trucks and they're going to leg it. So they're going to make a break for the state line. Let's go. So they're legging it. They're all in their trucks and they're legging it in this. Now they've started a convoy, you see. So Madge Sinclair, she plays a character called the Widow Woman. The Widow Woman. Not Widow. Widow Woman. And now the good thing about Convoy is a lot of the mishaps that happen stayed in the film. So accidents that happened on set. Now, as they're making their way through this intersection, and as the Widow Woman, she's scudding through because they're on the run now. They're on the run, so she's going through this turn. She's steering in, yeah, give it some of that. She has a blowout, and the truck tips over, which apparently wasn't meant to be in the film. It was just meant to be an aerial shot of them all steaming through this intersection. But with a woman's truck, tips over, make sure nothing's gone in my coffee, and that wasn't meant to happen, but they left it in because it was good, a good visual. Anyway, so she ends up in the truck with these two brothers, the pack rat and the white rat, and they're scudding, and you know, there's various, various truck drivers join this convoy because they're protesting about other things. They've got other things to worry about, these other truck drivers. Cost of fuel, speed limits, dirty cops. They're all joining for different reasons. They've all got their own reasons for joining the convoy, but mainly Mike Pigpen, the duck, with a woman, and the pack and the white rat are running because they've just had a fight with these policemen and beating them up. So anyway, so they're all running. Various, crashes and, roadblocks. They try and stop them. Then Lyle, he manages to catch a ride with the FBI in a helicopter. Lots of CB lingo. And the Dux is on the CB. Well, look, I want you to have a look at my trailer, you see. You've got to have a look at my trailer. See what those signs say. And so the FBI are, and they've got their binoculars, and they're giving... Oh, no, he's carrying explosives. And he says, yeah, 10,000 gallons of nitromanite, and it'll blow up, and it's carnage, so they have to clear the roadblocks, and then they have to let them through. Then the state governor decides he wants to try and exploit this situation, for his own personal gain, because he's a politician. But meanwhile, there's a subplot now, you see. So Spider Mike, he breaks away from the convoy because he's got to get home because Mrs. Mike is having a baby, and she's about to give birth. So Mike says, look, I've got to go. I'll see you later. So off he goes. He breaks away from the convoy. No, it'd be that way, wouldn't it? Because it's in America, so it'd be that way. So anyway, so then we meet the Governor Haskins, and they all congregate. They get all the trucks to congregate in this field, and they all have shower facilities and stuff, which I suppose are lacking even in the 70s for truck drivers, somewhere to wash and go to the toilet and be human. It's something that's desperately lacking in this country as well. Anyway, meanwhile, what we don't see is Spider Mike he's broken away. He's going home now. He's going to see Mrs. Mike and his new baby, right? But Dirty Lyle, no, he doesn't. Sheriff Alvarez picks him up. Sheriff Alvarez arrests Spider Mike. You don't see this, of course. Sheriff Alvarez arrests Spider Mike, and he does it once. He doesn't do it like 3 or 4 times. I'm just stammering. Anyway. And then he gets in touch with Sheriff Wallace and says, look, I've got one of your lads here. You're going to want to come and see him because A, he's a truck driver, and B, he's black. So, Anyway, so then we see Spider Mike, and Tiny Alvarez, that Sheriff Alvarez, has absolutely smashed the granny out of this boy. He has absolutely kicked him half to death, beaten Spider Mike to within an inch of his life. So Lyle turns up, and he's not impressed with the condition of Spider Mike. He's not impressed at all that Tiny Alvarez has just beaten him half to death, basically. So Spider Mike is kept in prison, in jail, as bait, so the rubber duck will come and get him. So anyway, so while the duck is meeting with Governor Haskins, we don't see any of the beating. We don't get to see any of the violence that Spider Mike endures, which is good, because nobody wants to see that, do they? So anyway, so the duck and Governor Haskins are trying to talk, and then it gets through via the CB that Spider Mike is dead, and he's a paraplegia and Tiny Alvarez has chopped his legs off, and all this sort of stuff. So then Duck says, well, I've got to go then. I've got to go and rescue Mike, because he's only in this problem because of me. So he has a bit of a falling out with Melissa. The governor sort of says, well, screw it then. I'm not going to faff around with this. You'll have to leave Mike in jail or I'm out. He said, I can't can't just get people out of jail whenever I feel like. So Duck says, well, if you're not going to do anything, screw it, I'm going. So anyway, so Duck gets in his truck and off he goes to rescue Spider Mike from the absolute arse kicking he's endured. Let me try and move this camera this way. No, why is that worse? I'm in a new spot, you see, so everything's new. Right, so. But what the Duck doesn't realise is the camaraderie that everybody feels. So the truck drivers follow him, and they follow the Duck, and they turn up outside of town. There's, you know, sort of all these trucks in a row, and they're all revving. There's diesel smoke and brum, 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 and air horns, and they're like, yeah, let's go do it. So then they go and they rescue Spider Mike from the jail. They drive the trucks into the front of the jailhouse. Now this film's nearly as old as me, so if you've not seen it by now, and I've watched this film so many times I couldn't even tell, thousands. Anyway, so they smash into the front of the jailhouse, because Sheriff Alvarez runs away. He gets in his car and he's like, yeah, see you later, law, I'm going, mate. And he hotfoots it, and the trucks chase him, and they smash the town up. And so then the Duck discovers that Mike has had his head kicked in. But to his credit, Mike is quick to point out that it wasn't Dirty Lyle that beat him up. It wasn't Lyle that beat him up, it was Tiny Alvarez. So, yeah, well, whatever, it's done now. So now they've got to make a break for Mexico. Yeah, go on, keep riding, go on. They've got to make a break for Mexico. So they drive through this little town, and the Duck gets separated from the convoy because there's a little bit of like an RTC, nothing drastic. But Pigpen ends up holding up the whole convoy, except for the Duck who's out in front. And in the DVD, this particular scene is called Crossing the Bridge Under Fire, right? So by now, Lyle has because they locked him up in the jailhouse. They said lock him up, leave him there, not our problem. But anyway, by now Lyle has managed to escape the jailhouse, and he is on the other side of this bridge, which is the only barrier to escape. Make sure nothing's gone in my coffee. So the Duck drives along, and Lyle's on the old radio on the CB, and he says, look, you're not getting over this bridge. And he's got a tank. There's a tank there, there's policemen there, like National Guards there, and they say, you're not getting across this bridge. That's the end of it. You're just not, it's not happening. You no matter what. I don't know why they was on that side of the bridge, because surely they'd be out of their jurisdiction by then. There's a lot of things wrong with this scene, which I didn't realise as a child. Anyway, so Duck says to Melissa, he says, look, no, actually it's that way because it's a left-hand drive, isn't it? He says, look, you better clear off, love. This is going to get a bit messy now. And she says, oh, I don't want to go, I want to stay with you. And he's like, get out, jog on. So he chucks her stuff out the truck, and Melissa slams the door and says, you have that. She's really angry about it. Yeah, because slamming the door, that's from what's gonna happen in the next couple of minutes. So the Duck decides he's got to just go for broke now. It's all or nothing now for the Duck. So he hightails it now. He puts his sunglasses on. He's like, yeah, sunglasses, yeah. And he makes his way to the bridge, and there's policemen and stuff. And the sort of, the iconic thing is the Mack truck, the great big black Mack truck going across the bridge, and the bullets are firing, and Dirty Lyle's on the tank, and he's got his gun, and then it sort of does slow-mo shots of, the truck coming across the bridge, and the machine gun's firing, and the policemen and the National Guard are firing, bang, 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 and it's all happening, the truck's getting shot to pieces. But what I didn't understand, right, now this is where, if you watch the film, you'll be like, well, why? Because at the back of the truck, there are policemen. Now surely, if you've got a lunatic up here, a racist lunatic sitting on the tank, just firing off 1,000 rounds a minute, he's proper going for it. He wants to stop the duck no matter what. But then you've got these two policemen at the other end of the truck, and there's various slow-mo shots and the shot of the prop shaft, and you know. Then there's the shot of the hood ornament. The hood ornament on the front of the duck's truck. It's this little brass duck. I think Quentin Tarantino owns it now. And you know, the duck, he's ducked down under the steering column and he's trying to steer the truck, and there's all this glass and people are calling him on the radio, and you know, and it's all very dramatic, and the duck's there and there's glass and he's like, oh crikey, oh, this has got thick real quick. So he's trying to steer the truck with his hand and trying to put his hand on the accelerator, and the truck is sort of going across the bridge, and then the two policemen that have made their way to the other end of the truck, the trailer full of chemicals, they've started shooting at the trailer, and there's various slow-mo shots and the duck, and then there's one bullet, and the whole trailer full of chemicals, explosive chemicals, explodes. And that's the end of that. He's just across he's right across the midpoint of the bridge. He's nearly there, and then the whole trailer blows up and explodes. Now, what I don't understand, as good as an iconic as this scene is, it is good and iconic as well. For some reason, for the visual, the tractor unit, the Mack tractor unit, separates from the trailer and just crashes through the railings and into the river below. You know, so the trailer's on the bridge and the truck is in the water. And I remember being a kid, being sort of 7 years old or 6, 7 years old, whatever I was, loving this film, loving the duck, loving his truck. And I hated those policemen. I absolutely hated those policemen for stopping him getting across the bridge. But I never... You know, why did the tractor and trailer separate? They shouldn't ever separate. The only way a tractor and trailer separates is if you pull the pin and do all that. So anyway, so now you've got this big explosion. The trailer is burning. The tractor unit's in the water, in the river. And then in the town, because Pigpen is still in the town with all the rest of the convoy, they hear the explosion. They probably see the big black smoke as well, and then they all start sounding the old air horns as a sort of salute to their fallen comrade. Anyway, so you think, oh, right, well, that's that then, isn't it? So the duck's dead, he's drowned or whatever, got shot to pieces. That's not good, is it? See you long. So the end scene is Governor Haskins, like a funeral thing for the duck. They've got like a funeral ceremony. But all Governor Haskins wants to do is just exploit this for his own political gain, really, like a proper politician. So, you know, the Pigpen is there, he's got the coffin on his trailer, and, you know, they're giving him a proper truck driver send-off sort of thing. Meanwhile, you've got Melissa walking along the line of trucks and things, and people that have joined and what have you. And then there's a bus, like an old school bus, full of these Jesus, God-bothering, Bible-bashing types, which, as I understand it, were played by Kris Kristofferson's real-life band, because Kris Kristofferson was a great musician, as we all know. Anyway, so the man, the Reverend, he gets Melissa onto the bus. He says, look, come here, darling, come with me, I'll give you a lift down the road, sort of thing. And so anyway, so the governor's address is being read out, not his house address, but the address, the speech. Everyone can hear it, and it's in the stadium, and everything's going well. And Melissa's really upset. She's like, oh my God, oh, this is terrible. You know, typical booing woman. Oh my goodness, oh. Right. And I'm going to have to drink this coffee in a minute. It's going to go stone cold. Oh, let's see. It might just still be drinkable. I've got my super manly masculine Paw Patrol plastic beaker. That's tepid. I'm going to have to wrap this up. I'm going to have to go on with this. So anyway, so Melissa's at the back of the bus and she's hanging onto the railing. Oh, it's a shame. Oh, I only knew him 5 minutes and now he's dead. Meanwhile, Pigpen decides he's not having this now. He's not having this Governor Haskins exploiting the situation anymore. So he gets in his truck and he's like, that's it. He chucks a chair and I'm doing it now. I'm off. See ya. And then right at the end, you see the duck. He's alive. He's alive. And, you know, he sort of looks up. He's sitting on the back seat of the bus and he looks up at Melissa and he says, did you ever see a duck that couldn't swim? So she's really happy. Oh, the love of my life. I only knew him 5 minutes and now he's come back again. Happy days. So the duck is happy because he's got a bit of fluff to get hold of now. She's happy because she's got a bit of rough to get hold of. Pigpen's taken off. The other truck drivers are following him. The governor's not impressed. His little mate, the assistant bloke, he's not impressed. And as the bus rolls by where the governor was, they call out on the CB to Dirty Lyle, who's on the stage there. He gets everywhere, this bloke. You know, he's the sheriff of Natosha County, about 800 miles away. But somehow now he's at the end, you see. And he sees the duck and he realises, oh gosh, he didn't die after all that. Oh, quality. And then he just starts laughing and there's chaos going on and bedlam and the Pigpen he took off with the truck and the coffin and called a sort of halt to proceedings, and you know. So it is a really good film. In fact, if I could say I've seen this film more than any other film ever. I've watched it and watched it and when I was a kid, my mum and dad taped it off of the telly one night, way back in about 1982 or 83 or something, and I watched it and I rewind it, watch it and rewind it, watch it and rewind it, and I actually watched this film so many times on VHS that I wore the tape out and it broke and got stuck in the machine. My mum and dad had to send the video player off to be repaired, and I got the tape back as well, so I was able to carry on watching and re-watching. Nowadays, of course, you'd go onto Amazon Prime and you just buy a new copy of it, wouldn't you? Or stream it, which I have done. I bought it on Prime as well. Yeah, I've got it on Amazon Prime and I've got it on DVD as well. So that's a win. It's a really good film. It's a really good film. Nothing too... you don't get to see Spider-Mite getting beaten up by the dirty policeman, so that's good. You do get to see a barroom brawl. There are some car crashes and bumps and things, which is good. It's a good film. It's a good film. I mean, Kris Kristofferson takes the lead. Ernest Borgnine's in it as the sort of supporting villain. He's the villain. He's the main villain. You've got Burt Young, who played Paulie in the Rocky films, Franklin Ajayi, Madge Sinclair. There's loads of good actors in there, loads. So, and some of the music, some of the soundtrack isn't too shabby either. So, I believe it's Lucille. I believe it's sung by, this particular version is in there by Kenny Rogers. So you've got Kenny Rogers singing in the film. If it is Kenny Rogers, I'm sure it's Kenny Rogers. As usual, I'm as well prepared and prepped as I always am, so that's good. But Convoy, buy it on Amazon Prime and stream it, and do yourself a favour and buy it on DVD as well, just so you've got a backup. You won't be disappointed. It's a really, really, really good film. It's a good way to pass sort of an hour and a half, an hour and 3/4, whatever. It's a fast-moving film. There's no lag. You just keep moving. It keeps moving. It keeps moving, and it's a really good film. So Convoy, Kris Kristofferson, Burt Young, Ernest Borgnine. You won't be disappointed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.